It's a Tuesday morning in March, Columbus, Ohio. The kind of morning where the cold still has teeth, where your breath fogs the kitchen window and the backyard is a flat gray sheet of leftover winter. You're standing at the counter with your coffee, not really looking at anything, just waiting for the day to start. And then you see it, a flash of orange in the grass, not a leaf, not a wrapper blown in from the street, a bird, rust red chest, dark back, yellow beak standing completely still in the middle of the lawn like it owns the place. You set down your coffee because you know this bird. You've known this bird your whole life. Your mother pointed it out to you when you were 4 years old, standing at a window just like this one. Your grandfather called it a good omen. Every spring, without fail, there it is, the American robin. Turdus migratorius, the wandering thrush. That's what the name means. The bird that never stays still, except right now. It's perfectly still. Its head is tilted down toward the ground, one eye angled at the grass. It looks like it's thinking, like it's waiting for something only it can sense. And here's the thing it is, what that tilted head is actually doing, what it's actually detecting in that frozen March ground, scientists didn't figure it out until 2006. And when they did, the answer wasn't what anyone expected. It changed the way researchers understood not just this bird, but the hidden machinery of the natural world itself. We'll get there, but not yet, because first, there's something you need to know about this bird that almost nobody tells you. That robin in your backyard, it didn't just arrive. It never left. Not really. Not the way you think. The story of the American robin is not a story about a bird that disappears and comes back. It's a story about a bird that's been there the whole time, hiding in plain sight, doing things your eyes were never trained to see. This isn't just a backyard bird. It isn't just a sign of spring. It isn't just the bird your grandmother pointed out to you when you were small. This is one of the most extraordinary, most studied, most quietly astonishing creatures on the North American continent. And it has been living 30 feet from your back door your entire life. By the time this video is over, you will never look at a robin the same way again. Let's go back to February, before the robin appeared on your lawn, before the snow melted, before any of this. Somewhere in the forests of Tennessee, a male robin is sitting in a sweet gum tree, eating berries in the cold gray light. He's been there since November. Not in Mexico, not in Florida. 30 miles from the nearest suburb, in a stand of trees most people drive past without looking at, eating holly berries and cedar berries and waiting for a signal. That signal isn't warmth. It's not the first crocus. It's not even the length of the day. Exactly. According to Dr. Frank Moore at the University of Southern Mississippi, who has spent more than 20 years tracking robin migration timing across North America, what triggers the northward push is a precise combination of day length and temperature. The bird's brain is running a calculation your best weather app can't match. And when the calculation resolves, he moves, not slowly, not cautiously. The male robin pushes north fast, arriving at breeding grounds a full 2 weeks before the female. 2 weeks alone, in March, cold, staking out territory, singing from fence posts and rooftops before the sun is fully up. Pay attention to this. If you see the first robin of spring in your backyard, and you almost certainly will before she does that, bird is a male. He got there first on purpose. He fought for that patch of lawn. He is, at that very moment, preparing a place for a mate who hasn't arrived yet. There's something about that image that's hard to shake. One bird, cold morning, an empty yard, singing anyway. But here's what most people don't know about that song. The robin's morning song, that rolling, liquid phrase that starts before 4 in the morning, before the cardinals, before almost any other bird in North America, isn't just beautiful. It's a territorial claim and a health broadcast simultaneously. The complexity of his song tells every female within earshot exactly how fit he is, how strong, how likely to be a good father. He has one shot at this, one spring, one territory, and he is singing with everything he has. Now, back to that tilted head. You're watching him from your kitchen window. He takes 3 quick steps across the grass, stops, and angles his head down and to the side. You probably assumed he was looking using that sharp eye to spot a worm near the surface. Here's where it gets really strange. He's not looking, he's listening. A study published in the journal Animal Behavior confirmed what ornithologists had long suspected: the robin's head tilt is an acoustic behavior. The bird is positioning its ears, not its eyes, toward the ground. It's detecting the faint seismic vibration of an earthworm moving through the soil, not seeing it, not smelling it, hearing the movement of a creature the size of a shoelace through 4 inches of compacted earth. The robin stands completely still. The worm moves. The robin moves. One quick stab of the beak, and breakfast is over. You blink, you almost missed it. But here's the part that makes this even more remarkable. Hearing the worm that tilted head, that perfect stillness, turns out to be only half the story. The other half involves something that has nothing to do with ears. We'll get there, but not yet. So here's what we know so far. The robin you saw this morning didn't just arrive from somewhere far away. It spent the winter 30 miles from your house, hidden in a forest, eating berries in the cold. The first one you saw was almost certainly a male who flew north alone 2 weeks early and sang from your fence post before the sun came up. And that tilted head, not looking, listening, detecting a worm through 4 inches of frozen earth with nothing but its ears. This bird has been in your backyard your entire life, and you're only just now meeting it. If that's the kind of thing that stops you in your tracks, hit subscribe. There are birds, insects, and creatures in your backyard right now doing things that would stop a scientist cold. We cover all of it right here. And I want to know, what's the first sign of spring you look for every year? The first robin, the first crocus, the first time you hear peepers at night? Drop it in the comments below. I read every single one. Now, we were talking about a secret. In 1827, a painter named John James Audubon sat down to sketch the American robin for his landmark collection, Birds of America. He had painted eagles and herons and flamingos, birds that demanded attention, birds that stopped you in your tracks by sheer size or spectacle. But when he wrote about the robin, he called it something different. He called it the most familiar of our birds, not the most beautiful, not the most dramatic, the most familiar. The bird that was simply always there. The bird that needed no introduction because everyone already knew it. Nearly 200 years later, the Cornell Lab of Ornithology estimates there are roughly 100 million American robins across North America. 100 million. It is, by most counts, the most abundant bird on the continent. And yet, here is something Audubon never got to see. Something no one alive in 1827 could have possibly imagined: a robin's egg held up to the light, That color, robin egg blue, you know it without being told. It has its own name in the English language, its own place in the color system, its own role in every paint store in America. Tiffany and Co. built a brand identity around it. It appears in wedding invitations and nursery walls and spring catalogs from here to Seattle. But that color is not decoration. It's not beauty for beauty's sake. The blue pigment in a robin's egg biliverdin, a byproduct of the mother's red blood cells, is a direct signal from the female to the male. The more vivid the blue, the healthier the mother, the stronger the egg, the better the odds of survival. The male reads that color before he brings a single worm to the nest. It is a language written in pigment, spoken between two birds, evolved over millions of years. You thought it was just a pretty egg, but it gets even more remarkable. A female robin doesn't lay one clutch and rest. She lays three separate clutches in a single summer, each one 3 to 5 eggs. Each egg incubated for 14 days. The mother alone on the nest in rain and heat and wind, while the male holds the territory and sings the boundary lines of their small world. 3 times a summer, she does this. The USGS Bird Banding Laboratory has tracked individual robins for years. The record holder, a male banded in Michigan, lived 14 years, 14 springs, 42 clutches of eggs. If you do the math, hundreds of chicks, one bird. But here's the grief underneath the wonder. That record is the exception, not the rule. The average American robin lives just 2 years in the wild, 2 springs, 2 summers, 2 chances to pass on everything evolution spent millions of years building into that small orange-breasted body. 2 years. The causes are not mysterious. Cats, window strikes. 1 billion birds die hitting glass in America every year. The robin is in the top 5. And then there is something quieter, something that doesn't make headlines, but shows up in the data with devastating consistency: pesticides. When a lawn is treated with common insecticides, the earthworms absorb the chemicals. The robin eats the earthworms. The robin dies. Not dramatically, not visibly. It simply doesn't come back next spring. Since 1970, the American robin population has declined by 30%. 30% of 100 million birds. You do that math too. If you're still here, you already care more about this bird than most people ever will. Stay with me, because what comes next is the part that stops scientists cold. The part about that tilted head. The other half of the story I promised you. In 2006, a researcher named Dr. Henrik Moritzen at the University of Oldenburg in Germany published a paper that made a quiet kind of noise in the ornithology world. He had been studying European robins, close cousins of your American backyard bird, trying to understand exactly how they navigated across thousands of miles of featureless landscape. No roads, no landmarks, no stars on cloudy nights, just a small bird, a dark sky, and an unerring sense of direction that had puzzled scientists for generations. What he found was this: deep inside the robin's eye, not the ear, not the brain, the eye itself, there are specialized proteins called cryptochromes. These proteins are quantum sensitive. They react to the Earth's magnetic field at the subatomic level, producing a kind of visual signal that the bird can actually perceive. Not feel, not sense vaguely. See, the robin sees the Earth's magnetic field. It appears, as best researchers can describe it, as a shading or gradient overlaid on the bird's normal vision. A map drawn in light. that tells the bird exactly where it is on the surface of the planet. Hold on. Think about what that means. You are standing in your backyard on a March morning. The robin is standing 30 feet away in the grass. You are both looking at the same lawn, the same fence, the same gray sky. But the robin is seeing something you cannot. It is seeing the invisible architecture of the earth itself, the magnetic lines that run from pole to pole, the orientation of the planet, a navigational grid that has no human equivalent. It is, in every meaningful sense, reading the world in a language you don't have the biology to learn. And here's the part nobody expects. That tilted head, the one you've been watching your whole life, the one you always assumed was about looking for worms, it's doing double duty. The acoustic hunting is real. The listening is real. But the head position also optimizes the angle of those light-sensitive proteins in the eye, fine-tuning the magnetic signal, sharpening the map. The robin is listening to the earth and reading the earth at the same time. Remember what I told you at the beginning? That what the tilted head was actually doing, scientists didn't figure it out until 2006, and when they did, it changed everything. This is that moment. This is the answer. A bird the size of your fist, standing on a lawn in Ohio, simultaneously hearing a worm move through 4 inches of soil and perceiving the magnetic field of an entire planet. Running calculations your most precise instruments struggle to replicate. Doing it before breakfast. Doing it in the cold. That is the bird your grandmother pointed out to you. That is the bird you almost didn't notice this morning. Look closely at this. Every spring, without fail, you look up and you see that orange breast in the grass. And for just a moment, maybe without even knowing why, something in you relaxes. Like a letter arriving from someone you were starting to worry about. Like a sign that the world is still running on schedule, still doing what it's supposed to do. That feeling is not nothing. It is not sentimental. It is not the imagination of people who spend too much time looking out kitchen windows. It is the recognition, somewhere below the level of conscious thought, that a small and ancient creature has found its way back, that the system is holding, that the chain is unbroken, that one more spring has arrived intact. But that chain is fraying. This isn't inevitable. This isn't fate. This isn't the price we have to pay for having lawns and windows in neighborhoods we love. This is a solvable problem. The robin doesn't need wilderness. It doesn't need a national park or a protected reserve or an act of Congress, though all those things help. It needs a lawn that isn't soaked in chemicals. It needs a window with a decal that breaks up the reflection. It needs a dogwood tree or a holly bush or a crabapple, something that holds berries in January, something that says to a bird hiding in the winter forest, there is food here. There is a place here. You can stay. 30% decline since 1970. 100 million birds becoming 70 million, becoming what 50-30, the number your grandchildren will grow up with, standing at their own kitchen windows, not knowing what they're missing because no one ever told them what used to be there. That is a choice, not a destiny. And it starts. It has always started in your backyard. So let's bring this home. 3 things I want you to walk away with today. The first one is the fact that will change how you look out your window every March morning for the rest of your life. The American robin does not migrate the way you were taught. Millions of them spend the winter right here in the forests and thickets within a few miles of your house, eating berries, staying quiet, waiting for the ground to thaw. The moment you see one on your lawn is not the moment it arrived. It's the moment it came back to you. There's a difference. And now you know it. The second thing is the image I want you to hold on to. Somewhere in February, before the snow is gone, a male robin lifts off from a sweet gum tree in a cold Tennessee forest. Alone, no mate yet, no guarantee of one. He flies north into the gray, arrives at your neighborhood before anyone expects him, and starts singing from your fence post at 4 a.m. in the dark and the cold. Not because anyone is listening, because this is what he does. Because this is what he has always done. Because somewhere in the wiring of that small bird is a commitment to spring that does not wait for conditions to be perfect. There is something in that worth sitting with. And the third thing, the one I want to end on, because it is the one that matters most, is this. The robin was here before the first European set foot on this continent. It was here before the suburbs, before the lawns, before the kitchen windows. We stand it every morning with our coffee. It watched this land change from forest to farmland to neighborhood, and it adapted every time because it is extraordinarily good at living alongside human beings. But it cannot adapt to a lawn full of poison. It cannot see a clear glass window coming. It cannot plant its own holly bush when the old one gets torn out for a concrete patio. That part is on us. The good news, and I mean this, is that the robin is one of the most recoverable species on the continent. It breeds fast. It adapts fast. It responds to habitat improvement faster than almost any bird its size. A single decision in your backyard, one less pesticide treatment, one window decal, one native shrub planted along the fence ripples outward in ways that are genuinely hard to measure. 100 million birds, 30% gone, but 70 million still here, still singing before the sun comes up, still reading the magnetic field of the earth with their eyes, still tilting their heads to hear something moving in the ground below them, still showing up every spring like a letter you didn't know you needed. When did you see your first robin this year? Drop the month and your state in the comments below. I want to build a map. I want to see where spring is moving across this country, one backyard at a time. And if this video gave you something, if you're going to look at that bird differently tomorrow morning, share it with someone who still stops at windows, someone who still notices, someone who still looks up. The robin was here before us. Let's make sure it's here after.